Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and I have what I believe is my first Deck Tech video for Wave 5. I want to talk about actually a Wave 4 character that I've really been enjoying. We've got Soundblaster in front of us. He's been around since Transformers Siege Part 2 in the Transformers TCG. I've been enjoying him since then, been building him all sorts of different ways. But I want to talk about how I'm having a lot of fun with him in Wave 5. He's not going to, I don't think, at least right now, I haven't figured out a way to make him competitive in the same aggro type lists as, say, Perceptor or Sky Shadow. But I think Wave 5 has given Soundblaster a lot of tools to be a very fun black-orange deck to play with. Before, we were playing him mostly orange. Now I think, for me, I'm definitely shifting him way more black. We'll talk about the battle cards in a second. First, we'll start out with our characters. So, Soundblaster is first. Obviously, he's the big guy at 12 stars for your deck list. Again, you start out in alt mode. He's 516-2. That's pretty decent stats. The 16 health I found is a little on the low side, and we'll talk about how to address that later. But when we flip Soundblaster to bot mode and he attacks, he's got 6 base health, and then the important thing is when he attacks, we can take a weapon from our scrap pile and put him on Soundblaster, which is a really cool ability, especially with the way it interacts with different weapons that came out in Wave 2. So normally, Soundblaster as a specialist is going to swing in bot mode, and then possibly we'll be flipping him back to alt mode, because when we flip to this mode, we can pass a weapon to another character that gives him a +1 attack on top of whatever the weapon does. So Soundblaster is our mainstay. Next up, we have what I've been enjoying alongside Soundblaster. Since we are playing Black Pip weapons onto Soundblaster, we can go ahead and get some synergy out of those with Horri-Bull. So Horri-Bull again, you probably know and love him. I'm using Kreb as his head just to fit star count, so he's only 8 stars. Horri-Bull with Kreb is 310-2 in alt mode with that Kreb head. We get, when we play a Black Pip card, so again, Soundblaster triggers this because he does say play, we get to do a damage to an enemy and a damage to Horri-Bull. When we flip Horri-Bull, we get to move damage onto enemies. So the goal here is Soundblaster swings big with a black weapon. Horri-Bull is pinging damage to clean up kills, so we don't have to attack into something twice. And to fill out the last 6 stars, I ended up going with Nightracer. Nightracer, I found, doesn't do a ton in the list, but I've got enough secret actions, and I'm running Spymaster's Ruse. So Nightracer is able to give my guys Bold 1 a decent amount of the time, which Soundblaster and Horri-Bull appreciate on their attacks. And that's it, right? Nightracer tends to sit in this mode, and that'll be kind of it for Nightracer. But with our characters, we do have a ranged, a specialist, and a melee character. We are all Decepticons, no Autobots in this list, which means we have a spare star that we can run Villainous Spotlight, which gives us 2 extra stars worth of orange cards. Which in our battle card deck you'll see, I think this ends up being pretty important. So that is our 25 star count, and now let's talk about our battle card deck. We're going to start with weapons, because that's what Soundblaster cares about. Our black weapon package, we've got Crystal of Power, we've got 3 Fusion Borers, we've got 3 RR Disruptor Blades. The big one is we've got 3 industrial grade phase charges, which I love. So out of these 11 weapons, the big one you want to play on Soundblaster if you can get it in your hand, and we'll talk about card draw in a moment, are the industrial grade phase charges. What these are able to do on Soundblaster specifically in bot mode, let's say it's your turn, Soundblaster's about to attack, you put the phase charge on him. Great, now he's at 8 attack. We're going to go ahead and attack with him. This is where our attack triggers can proc. When the upgraded character attacks, we can scrap this card and he gets +3. So now instead of 8 attack, he's at 9 attack. But we just scrapped this card, which means that because he's attacking, we can put this baby back on, making him 11 attack. Now 11 attack is pretty beefy before flips, and we never lost our industrial grade phase charge. That is what I'm having the most fun with this deck list. It's kind of what everything is built around, is getting the card draw to get these in hands, or if they're in scrap, putting them on Soundblaster, not scrapping them, and then cycling in later on if you can. That's the bread and butter, is getting that 11 swing. Now, say it is, again, 3 black pip cards. Without green pips, it's a little hard to draw them. If you can't get the industrial grade phase charges in hand or from your scrap, that is fine, because the other weapons in the deck, the other 8 of them, are all +3s. So Crystal of Power, our Disruptor Blade, Fusion Bore, something is going to be in your scrap, and when it's in your scrap, it can go on Soundblaster for 9 attack. And that is just fine. If you manage to go from the scrap onto Soundblaster after he attacks, then both the Fusion Bore and the Crystal Power do not discard. He's attacking, you get to play it on the attack, it missed the attack trigger, which means that both these guys get to stick around, which is just lovely. I really, really like the way that Soundblaster gets to play with that attack trigger. And that's kind of what things are based around. So, a 9 base attack, 11 base attack Soundblaster is nothing to laugh at. Getting Horri-Bull and Nightracer up to 7 with the other weapons is also a pretty meaty attack. And from there, we can move on to our... we'll go this way. We'll move from our weapons to our armors. We don't have a lot. We really just have increased durability and 3 improvised shields. I started out with this list, and I was playing a lot more, I was playing Bashing Shield, I was playing another increased durability, I was playing a lot more black pips in general. I've slowly, through playing with other people, I've shifted it a bit more orange. If you look at the list below, the Fortress Maximus.io link, you'll see, it's like 30 black pip cards in the deck, or 30 black pips in the deck, 24 orange pips. It's a little more balanced now. But what I've found is just the Pierce, because I'm playing a lot of aggro on aggro matchups, the Pierce doesn't super matter until I'm playing a control deck list. And at that point, I can shift more black, but I just find myself in a position where I'm just playing aggro matchups and I needed to increase my attack. So I don't have Bashing Shield because I don't see people playing armors that I want to get rid of. Increased durability is fine, but more often than not, I'm trying to target utilities. So I've ended up dropping the Bashing Shield. I could see myself dropping an Improvised Shield to put it back in if I need to. Increased durability gives +4. Soundblaster and Horri-Bull, they want the health. I tend not to worry about Nightracer. But if I can get either of these two guys up a good chunk of health, I will, and I'll be very happy. And again, increased durability is a black pip card that Horri-Bull loves to feed off of. Next, for our utilities. Oh, and I've actually forgotten 2 more weapons. I keep forgetting that mounted missiles are, in fact, weapons. Mounted missiles are what we are getting from our Villainous Spotlight card. We get 2 more double orange pip cards, getting our orange pips a little higher, making us a little more aggro. Plus, these can be played in the armor or utility slot, wherever we want to stick them, which I love. So, again, getting Soundblaster to 13, because on the turn, if we already have Industrial Phase Charge on him, we don't need to play another weapon. We can play this, scrap, put it back. Now he's at 13 attack, which I've been able to do more often than I was expecting to, and I'm very happy to do that. In terms of our utilities, we've got Escape Capsule and Enhanced Power Cell. Escape Capsule is another utility that gives plus attack. You can play it on Soundblaster if you want. Normally, if Horri-Bull doesn't have an Enhanced Power Cell, but I happen to draw the Escape Capsule, I can play it on Horri-Bull. Either way, the Black Pips proc Horri-Bull's ability, and the Escape Capsule is a black-orange pip, which means it's just adding a damage that your opponent is going to be taking most of the time. The last utility is Pocket Processor. This is part of our card draw. It's not the only card draw in the deck. But putting this down normally on Horri-Bull, sometimes on Nightracer, because people tend not to prioritize Nightracer, just giving you an extra card to draw each turn is a big help, because I found I needed to add some card draw, otherwise my deck list just kind of runs out of steam. Next, we're going to talk about actions. The first 3 are obvious. Time Walking is strong, so we got 3 Peace Through Tyrannies. The person you Peace Through Tyranny is Horri-Bull. I found that there are games when I get down, we're tapped out, If I can PTT Horri-Bull, I'll swing with Kreb, and I'm fine with that because we're going to untap, and that means I get a Sergeant Soundblaster turn. Like that wins me the game when it happens. If it doesn't happen, that's fine, because on a flip, it's still 2 orange pips, a very strong card. I was running more direct damage, but I found myself cutting out to get a little more utility. I do have 2 Magnetic Dysfunction Rays. Again, we're running all Decepticons here, so if we need to hurt some Autobots, we can sideboard in more Magnetic Dysfunction Ray, but right now it's a black-orange pip that does a damage to everyone and 2 damage to Autobots. I do want my bold because I want to get more orange pips or more black pips if possible, so I am running 3 fight for positions. Speaking of the card draw, again, we have a ranged, a specialist, and a melee character. So wedge formation, it was a very obvious choice. Green pip to pick it up when you need it. As long as Nightracer is on the field, I get some card draw. I can heal Horri-Bull, which I'm just fine doing to keep him alive longer. And then if I've got orange pips in my hand, I can plan them for Soundblaster swing, which is A-okay by me. We need to target utilities. We need to get some discard. I'm running a reprocess, and you'll see in my sideboard I've got some other options also. I have found, right, this deck, if on the wrong turn, my opponent plays, say, Stable Cover, or they play, and Hostilities doesn't matter quite as much. Sometimes it has mattered, but, and Hostilities, Sabotage Armaments, whatever you don't like, you play Counter Espionage to get that shit off the table. If they've got a secret action, Soundblaster, if he's, gonna swing base like 13 and you've got to fight for position on the table, so he's gonna get to 15 health, and you need that, or 15 damage, and you need that 15 damage to kill, a big bot, and forgot the name of the card for just a brief second, but I've got it. Hold the Line. Hold the Line against Soundblaster with his attack getting so high can cost you the game, because it means the opponent gets to live by 1, or however the math works out. So call out Hold the Line. If you've got, a smaller bot swing, let's say Nightracer is only 5 stars and she's going to swing for like 7 or 8 damage, hold the line there. And Hostilities, don't worry about. It tends to be Hold the Line, Sabotage Armaments. Sometimes Concealing Contrails, whatever you notice your opponent playing, that can hurt you on that attack. I found that as I've gotten to be a better player and identify threats, Counter Espionage has gotten more and more valuable. Speaking of our direct damage package, I'm only running 2 Magnetic Dysfunction Rays. I just dropped Rock Toss and Precision Fire, but I am running 3 Cayman Crashes. I think these are absolute musts. Again, it's a Lightning Bolt with Horri-Bull in body mode. It's just too good to pass up. This, Soundblaster swinging for, let's say, 11, doing 9 damage to some bot. They live at 2 or 3. Cayman Crash cleans up the field, and I don't have to worry about spending another attack, and I love that. Now, the last bit of card draw is Mission Briefing. With these flips, right, generally speaking, turn 1, I'll flip Nightracer to get her in that mode, and I'm kind of fine doing that. Swinging with Nightracer, because no one's going to spend a second attack in a Nightracer. Flipping Soundblaster when I get a chance, flipping Horri-Bull when I get a chance. Spending most of my flips on Horri-Bull for the rest of the match. So Mission Briefing tends, as I'm flipping Horri-Bull back and forth, it's either draw 2 or it's draw 3. When it gets the draw 3 value, I love it. When it's draw 2, it's still perfectly fine. And it's, one of my only 2 white pips in the deck list. Then for our defensive utility, we aren't super tough characters here. With 16 health, 11 health, 11 health. Hold the Line has saved my life more times than I can count. I was running 2 of it for a while, but then when I was running 2 of it, Counter Espionage, they knew to get rid of Hold the Line. What I love about Hold the Line is if I play Spymaster's Ruse, they're both green pips. Odds are I'll get both of them in my hand eventually. Spymaster's Ruse makes Hold the Line essentially a black pip card for Horri-Bull, which I like, and then it sticks around until the turn I need it. The other, because of how black the deck list is, Concealing Contrails, turning my 1 defense guys into 3, maybe 4 defense guys is just fine by me. With how much Pierce is out there, I don't need to get much higher than that, so I wasn't worrying about getting a ton of tough with Nightracer. Like, you know, flipping Nightracer to tough mode, I tend not to do that. But you can if you have the flip for it for a particular turn for some reason, if it just, your flips get awkward that way. But otherwise, just having Concealing Contrails or Hold the Line down with Spymaster's Ruse, I really, really think that having these 2 cards, I'm trying to find room, maybe again I drop Improvised Shield or something to play a second copy of one of them. But this is kind of the defensive utility that makes you last, I'll say you'll last just long enough to win, and I'm like, that's all you need to do. But that's the battle deck list. Again, I did a little write-up in my Fortress Maximus deck list. I've been enjoying that. I've been enjoying playing this deck list. Now, let me talk a bit about where my head's at with this going forward, because I have played this a good amount, and I've been enjoying it a lot. My sideboard right now consists, obviously, 10 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they kind of respond to different things. Let's say that I am playing against a control deck, and I need to get rid of a little bit of their blue pips. Belligerence comes into play. When I bring in Belligerence, I tend to drop like Concealing Contrails because the control list isn't doing that much damage to me that I need to worry about it. The other sideboard card that I like for the mirrors and hostilities, I'll bring in End Hostilities. I'm running enough orange pips and double orange pips that End Hostilities has also been, you know, another secret action with Spymaster's Ruse to help keep me alive for that extra turn that I need. If I am struggling to keep up with more aggro lists that don't worry about the black pips that are just pure aggro, Reckless Charge is a action card that I bring in. Again, helps turn Nightracer into an 8 attack. I'm fine with a 3 damage because that can matter in a turn. If I'm playing against another Horri-Bull deck list, Reflect Damage comes in. I think that it's a super important card. It was mainboarded for a while. I've recently just haven't run into as many Horri-Bulls, so I've moved it to the sideboard. But it's a card that I could easily see 2 of in the sideboard, just to make sure you get it when you need it to prevent those Cayman crashes from really fucking your shit up. Because I am 3 wide, against other decks it can be hard for me to get to the character I want. Because Soundblaster has 11 attack before an action, if I can get the supporting fire in hand with my card draw, to get him to 12 and then swing on the character I want to swing, it's huge. Like, it's a card that I just, without pips, I was struggling to find a place for it in the main board. But once I play game 1 and I know that I want to kill something important, supporting fire tends to come in. I've got some extra weapons in case I need to shift things Pierce. I think out of the sideboard cards, the Grav inhibitors are what I drop. I also have Disassemble to drop other weapons and armor in addition to Reprocess. I don't drop Reprocess. I'll drop something else to bring Disassemble in. The Grav inhibitors are the cards from my sideboard that are probably going to leave the sideboard. I haven't decided what I'm replacing it with yet. I have a potential pile of cards that I've been like going back and forth. Like a second Reckless Charge I think would be good. Bashing Shield if I am facing more control armor decks. Another Hold the Line I could easily see. Like these are the top 3 contenders. And then just more damage. Maybe a second Belligerence. Just Precision Fires, Rock Tosses. Like any of these I could see myself switching around in the sideboard. But that is the deck list. That's what I've been playing lately. That's what I've been enjoying lately and constructed. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this and you're enjoying playing games with me on webcam or watching me play on stream or any of that stuff, appreciate the likes, the subs, the shout outs, all that stuff. And I'll catch you all later. Have a great day, everyone. See ya.